Hey, hey! Back up! You're stinking up my counter.
Sir, I'd like to withdraw $50,000.
50,000 from you? Oh, that's rich. Hey, my watch costs more than your whole block. Go beg somewhere else.
It's my account, please.
Just did your welfare check. Finally clear. Get your filthy hands off my counter before I call security on you.
Sir, I'm not.
I don't care what sob story you've got. Look at you. You're embarrassing yourself. Now move!
She nods once, opens her phone, hits record, sets it on the counter. He thought he was humiliating a woman who had wandered into the wrong building. He had no idea he had just made the biggest mistake of his career. And he would figure it out in exactly 4 hours. To understand what just happened at that counter, you have to rewind 90 minutes. Back to the moment she decided what kind of morning she wanted this to be. Her name is Wren Sutton, 42 years old. She lives in a quiet craftsman house in a Chicago suburb. She drives a 5-year-old Lexus with a small dent on the rear bumper she keeps meaning to fix. She wears a single thin gold band on her right hand that belonged to her grandmother, who raised 3 children on a housekeeper's wage and never once withdrew more than $200 from a bank at a time. This morning, Wren is taking a personal day. Her daughter Amara, 14, is being honored at a scholarship ceremony this afternoon. Amara plays the cello. She's been accepted into a summer music program in Vienna, the kind of opportunity that changes the shape of a young life. The program costs $50,000. Wren has been saving quietly for 6 years. She is going to withdraw the money this morning, convert it into a cashier's check, and slide it inside the card she has already written for her daughter. She pulls into the parking lot of the Oak Park branch of Meridian Heritage Bank at 9:52 a.m. She takes off her silver earrings. She leaves her designer handbag under the passenger seat and carries a plain leather tote instead. She pulls her hair into a simple, low bun. Then she speaks into the phone. "I just want to be a regular customer for one morning," she tells her assistant. "No calls, no meetings, no corporate treatment. Just a mom buying her kid a gift." Her assistant laughs gently. "Understood, Miss Sutton." That is the last time anyone calls her by her last name for the next 4 hours. The Oak Park branch is the flagship. Built in 1952, marble floors, brass fixtures, a coin-counting machine near the entrance. The lobby smells of lemon polish and old money, and every inch of it assumes the people walking in already know they belong. On the east wall hangs a framed photograph of the bank's executive team. 7 people in dark suits. In the center, front row, is a black woman with a calm, steady gaze. This morning, the photograph is partially hidden by a seasonal display of white tulips. Wren notices the tulips. She does not say a word. At window 4 stands a young man named Caleb Davis, 29 years old, 3 years at the branch. 6 months ago, he was passed over for a promotion he was sure he had earned. His HR file contains 2 informal complaints, both phrased gently, both unresolved. His phone is face up under the counter, and he is scrolling through sports scores when Wren walks in. He does not take note of her. In the glass office at the back sits Gregory Wilson, branch manager, 54 years old. On a minimized window in the corner of his desktop, a compliance training module assigned 8 months ago. Completion rate, 22%. He keeps meaning to finish it. He has been meaning to for 3 weeks. Near the atrium stands the security guard, Thomas Williams, 61, retired Chicago PD, black. 8 years at this branch. badge 0612. He notices everything and says very little. And in the leather notebook in his breast pocket, he has been writing down things for years that nobody has ever asked him about. He sees Wren walk in. His back straightens. He recognizes her immediately. He begins to nod. And then Wren, without quite looking at him, gives the smallest shake of her head. He understands. He turns, repositions himself, and watches. 3 other people matter this morning. At window 2, an elderly white woman in a lavender coat chats quietly about her granddaughter's wedding. She has been banking here 32 years. Near the teller line, a young Latina mother rocks a stroller. Her name is Mrs. Reyes. She just came in to cash a check. At window 1, a white businessman in a cashmere coat is finishing a transaction. He is withdrawing $75,000. Cashier's check. The teller smiles warmly. She does not ask for a second piece of ID. She does not ask about the source of the funds. She slides the check across the counter and calls the next customer. The next customer is Wren. Some mornings begin like any other. The light comes through the lobby windows the same way. And then someone, somewhere, decides, without knowing it, that today is the day they'll learn what assumptions can cost. She steps forward. 14 minutes of waiting behind her. A withdrawal slip in her hand. She has no idea what is about to happen. Neither does he. Wren steps up to window 4. She places 3 things on the counter: her driver's license, her debit card, and the withdrawal slip she filled out in the parking lot. $50,000. Cashier's check. Her voice is warm, professional. "Good morning. I'd like to convert this into a cashier's check, please." Caleb glances at the slip, glances at her, glances at the slip again. His posture shifts. The scroll of his phone pauses mid-swipe. "That's a large amount, ma'am." "Yes, it is. My account shows the available balance." He types, slowly, too slowly. Then, "I'm going to need a secondary form of ID." Wren slides her passport across the counter. He examines it, holds it up to the light like it is a counterfeit bill. Then he places it flat on his desk next to her driver's license and does not return either one. "I'm going to need a third." "Is that standard for this transaction?" "It is for me." She pulls out her work ID. Generic, no title visible, just her name and a corporate logo. He looks at it, taps it with his pen. "This looks pretty new. I renewed it last year." He sets it on the stack with the others. Now she has no identification. He has all 3 pieces of it. "I'm going to need to verify your signature." He disappears into a back room. 6 minutes. Wren stands at the counter with empty hands. The elderly woman at window 2 glances over, concerned. Mrs. Reyes pulls her stroller a half step closer. When Caleb returns, he is holding a clipboard. "Ma'am, your signature today doesn't quite match the one on file." "I've been signing my name the same way for 30 years. May I see the card?" "Can't show you that, ma'am. Security protocol." "Then please let me re-sign." "I already pulled it. It doesn't match." He does not offer her a pen. He does not offer her a new slip. He types again, slowly. His face has arranged itself into something close to a smile. "I'm also seeing a hold on this account." "There is no hold on my account." "My screen says there is." "May I see the screen?" "Can't do that, ma'am." "Then please call the fraud department and have it cleared." They're on lunch. It is 10:22 in the morning. Fraud departments at national banks do not go to lunch. Wren knows this because she wrote the staffing policy. She blinks, once, very slowly. Just one blink. Anyone watching closely would have seen her face change, just for a fraction of a second, and then settle back into calm. Because she has heard this before. She was 16 at a Nordstrom when she first heard it. She was 23 at Denver International Airport. She was 35 at a restaurant on her own wedding anniversary. And now she is 42, standing in her own bank. And it is happening again. Caleb leans forward. His voice lifts, just enough that the lobby can hear it. Ma'am, I'm going to need you to explain the source of these funds. They're my funds. They have been in this account for 6 years. He smirks. Yeah, that's what a lot of people say. The businessman at window 1 turns his head. The elderly woman at window 2 looks down at her own hands. Caleb's voice goes louder. Hey, hey, back up. You're stinking up my counter. Sir, I only want to... I said back up. God, did you even shower? This is a private bank, not a homeless shelter. I'd like to withdraw $50,000. $50,000? From you? Oh, that's rich. Sweetheart, my watch costs more than your whole block. Go beg somewhere else. It's my account. Please, just... Your account? Did your welfare check finally clear? Get your filthy hands off my counter before I call security on you. Sir, I'm not... I don't care what sob story you've got. People like you don't belong in a room like this. Look at you. You're embarrassing yourself. Now move. Balabi has gone silent. Wren's jaw tightens once, then relaxes. She nods once, opens her phone, hits record, sets it on the counter. What was your name again? Oh, now you want my name? Go ahead. Caleb Davis. Write it down, sweetheart. Won't change a thing. I'd like to speak to the manager. Fine. Waste his time, too. Gregory Wilson emerges from his office with the practiced smile of a man who has smoothed over 1,000 small things in his career. He shakes Wren's hand without meeting her eyes. Caleb leans in and whispers. Gregory nods sympathetically at Caleb. Ma'am, I understand there's some confusion. Our teller is just following protocol. For withdrawals of this size, sometimes we need extra verification. I've made withdrawals of this size at this branch before. Never with this process. Perhaps at a different institution? At this branch, March 14th of last year. Gregory glances at his screen. He does not actually check the record. He looks at it for 2 seconds, then looks back at her. Why don't we step into my office? No, I'd like this handled here, in public, just like the gentleman at window 1 was handled. Gregory's smile tightens. Then he shifts tactics. His voice turns warm, concerned, helpful. He leans forward slightly, the way a kindly uncle might. Ma'am, I understand this is frustrating, but we can help you find a solution better suited to your needs. There are financial institutions that specialize in serving different communities. MoneyGram is right across the street, or our branch on the south side. You might feel more comfortable there. The lobby freezes. Even the businessman at window 1 lifts his head. The elderly woman at window 2 goes very still. Wren speaks slowly, carefully. You're suggesting I go to the south side because I would feel more comfortable there. I just meant those branches have staff who understand. Understand what, Mr. Wilson? Please, finish the sentence. Gregory is sweating now. Different types of customers. Caleb, emboldened, tries to help his manager. Ma'am, people from that community often prefer faster cash services. It's not wrong to suggest. Wren turns to him. That community being which community, Mr. Davis? I mean, people with different financial needs. Say it plainly. Which community? Caleb opens his mouth, closes it, goes silent. Gregory, desperate, pulls out his phone. Ma'am, as a gesture of goodwill, I can call you an Uber to a more appropriate branch. We'll cover the cost. Wren looks at him. She looks at him for a long time. You're offering to pay for a taxi to send me away. The elderly woman at window 2 audibly gasps. Mrs. Reyes puts her hand over her mouth. Thomas Williams takes one step forward from the atrium, and Wren, without turning her head, gives the smallest shake of her head. Not yet. She wants the record. Mr. Wilson, I'm going to ask you one more time. Process my withdrawal, or provide me written documentation of why you are refusing. Ma'am, we're going to have to decline this transaction today. Come back with additional documentation. What documentation? We'll be in touch. He has no answer. He is making it up as he speaks. Caleb smirks. Gregory tries one last thing. He leans in, lowers his voice to a near whisper, and says the sentence that will, in about 5 hours, be played back to him in a conference room while he stares at the table. Ma'am, your presence is making other customers uncomfortable. Wren blinks, once, very slowly. That is the only thing she does. She does not cry. She does not raise her voice. But her face, for the second time that morning, changes just enough that anyone who has ever stood in that exact place would recognize it instantly. Then she picks up her phone, still recording, and slides her 3 IDs back into her tote. She collects her withdrawal slip. She turns to face the lobby. Her voice is clear, unshaking, carrying to every corner of the marble room. I would like every person in this room to remember what they just witnessed. Thank you. The elderly woman nods slowly. Mrs. Reyes says, quietly but firmly, I saw it. Wren walks past the atrium. She stops in front of Thomas Williams. She reads his nameplate. Badge 0612? Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your service today. He nods once. She walks out. The glass door closes behind her with a soft, polite click. In her car, she sits perfectly still for 4 minutes. She does not cry. She picks up the phone. She makes one call. Diane, it's Wren. Convene the board. Today. Wren sits in the Lexus for 4 full minutes before she turns the key. She does not cry. She does not call anyone to vent. She does what she has always done when something breaks in front of her. She starts making the list of what needs to happen next, in order, without wasted motion. She calls her daughter's school first. Hi, this is Amara Sutton's mom. Could you let her know her grandmother will be taking her to the ceremony this afternoon? Tell her I'll be there by 5. Tell her I love her. She hangs up, takes one breath. Then she makes 3 more calls back to back, each one lasting less than 4 minutes. The first is to Diane Moore, her head of human resources. Diane, pull Caleb Davis's file, Oak Park branch, window 4. Everything. Performance reviews, customer complaints, training records. I need it on my desk in an hour. The second is to Evelyn Taylor, her regional vice president. Evelyn. Something happened at the flagship this morning. I need you downtown by 1 o'clock. Bring Margaret Brown with you. And pull transaction disparity data from Oak Park for the last 6 months. Flag rates, secondary ID requests, withdrawal denials, cross-referenced by demographic. The third is to Harold Anderson, chair of the board. Harold, I'm going to need a board call this afternoon. Not urgent in the legal sense, urgent in every other sense. I'll explain everything at 2. 11 minutes. 3 calls. By the time she pulls out of the parking lot, a chain of notifications is already moving through the bank's executive layer like a current under the floor. Back inside the branch, none of this is visible yet. Caleb is still at window 4. He is laughing now, leaning across to the teller at window 5, repeating the story with theatrical flourish. Did you see her face? The girl thought she was going to rob the place. I shut that down real quick. The teller at window 5 laughs, half-heartedly. She is not entirely comfortable with the story, but she laughs anyway, because Caleb is the kind of person who makes it uncomfortable not to. In the glass office at the back, Gregory is pacing. He has convinced himself, in the 30 seconds since Wren walked out, that he handled the situation with grace and professionalism. He has a script he is rehearsing internally. Difficult customer, escalating behavior, corporate compliance. I protected the institution. He sits down at his desk. He opens his email. He tells himself he will draft an incident report after lunch. He does not draft it. Thomas Williams, near the atrium, stands exactly where he has been standing for the last 40 minutes. He has not moved. He is watching Caleb laugh, watching Gregory pace. Then, very quietly, he reaches into his breast pocket and takes out the small leather notebook he has kept for 8 years. He clicks his pen. He writes down a single line. 10:18 a.m. Window 4. C. Davis. M. Sutton. Refused service. Called names. Manager backed teller. I am a witness. He slides the notebook back into his pocket. He does not say a word. At 11:52 a.m., Gregory's email chimes. He glances at the screen. Branch visit, 2 p.m. today. Compliance review. No name attached, just the executive office. He frowns. He assumes it is routine. Compliance reviews come around every quarter. He tells himself he will pull the training dashboard open before they arrive. He does not. 15 minutes after that, a second email lands. This one is CC'd to Caleb. Subject line, Transaction Review, Window 4, 10:18 a.m. Caleb reads it again. The smirk fades from his mouth slowly, the way air leaves a balloon with a slow leak. Greg? He calls out, no longer joking. Greg, did you get this? Gregory walks over, reads it. His face does something Caleb has never seen before. Meanwhile, downtown, on the 46th floor of a glass tower Wren has not visited since breakfast, Margaret Brown is pulling data. She is a quiet, thorough woman with 20 years in compliance, and she knows how to follow a thread when someone hands her one. Within 40 minutes, she has the answer Wren needs. Over the last 6 months, at the Oak Park branch, Caleb Davis has flagged transactions for enhanced review at his window 23 times. 19 of those customers were non-white. His flag rate on white customers is 0.9%. His flag rate on non-white customers is 11.4%, a 12-fold disparity. The data has been in the system the entire time. Nobody at Oak Park ever looked. Margaret prints the report. She slides it into a folder. She walks it down the hall to Wren's office. At 1:15 p.m., a Latina woman with a stroller walks back into the Oak Park branch. She approaches Thomas Williams. She speaks quietly, in Spanish, then switches to English. So Sir, the lady this morning. If anyone asks, I saw what happened. My name is Teresa Reyes. Please write it down. Thomas takes out his notebook. He writes her name. He writes her phone number. He thanks her. She nods and walks out without buying anything. At the same moment, Wren is in a small conference room 8 miles away. Not the CEO suite, a plain room with a laptop and a pot of coffee. She has changed her blazer. She is watching the Oak Park security footage on the laptop, pulled via her executive access. She watches herself get humiliated. She watches it a second time. On the second viewing, she pauses on the exact moment Gregory said, "more comfortable." She takes a screenshot. She timestamps it. She attaches it to an email. She does not cry. She has done this kind of work for 20 years in rooms where nobody looked like her. She knows how to build a case. At 1:40 p.m., a black SUV pulls away from the tower. Inside, Wren, Margaret, Diane, Evelyn. 4 women in dark suits. Nobody speaks for the first 10 minutes. Then Margaret says quietly, "Wren, the pattern didn't start with him. The branch has systemic issues." Wren nods. "I know. That's why we're not just firing one teller today." At 1:58 p.m., the SUV pulls into the parking lot of the Oak Park branch. Through the glass, Caleb can be seen at window 4, serving a customer. Laughing again. He does not see them yet. The glass doors of the Oak Park branch open at exactly 2 o'clock. Wren walks in first. Same charcoal blazer, same low bun, same thin gold band. Nothing about her has changed, except the air that moves with her. Behind her, in a silent line, Margaret Brown with a leather folder under her arm, Diane Moore holding a tablet, Evelyn Taylor in a navy suit, 4 women, dark colors, no hurry in their step. The elderly woman in the lavender coat is still at a counter, finishing a deposit. She looks up. Her eyes find Wren. She touches the sleeve of the woman next to her, whispering something that makes the other woman turn too. Thomas Williams straightens at his post. His chin lifts half an inch. He does not smile, but something in the shape of his eyes changes. He nods at Wren, the kind of nod a soldier gives another soldier. Wren nods back. Gregory Wilson steps out of his office holding a coffee cup. He sees Wren first. For half a second, his face registers only confusion. Then his eyes travel past her to the 3 women behind her, and they land on Evelyn Taylor. He knows Evelyn Taylor. He has been on quarterly calls with her for 2 years. He has shaken her hand at the regional conference in Indianapolis last October. The coffee cup in his hand starts to tremble. His face does not go pale dramatically. It goes pale the way a wall does when the sun moves behind a cloud. Slow, quiet, total. The color drains as if something inside him has just been unplugged. At window 4, Caleb Davis has not noticed any of this. He is mid-transaction when his eye catches a shape in his peripheral vision. He glances up, sees Wren, and he laughs. A short, disbelieving bark. He turns to the teller at window 5, loud enough that half the lobby hears it. "Oh, you've got to be kidding me. She came back. She actually came back." The teller at window 5 does not laugh this time. Caleb's eyes drift over Wren's shoulder. He sees the 3 women. He does not know who they are, but he sees Gregory's face across the lobby, frozen against the wall. And something begins to move in Caleb's stomach that he has never felt before. A cold, slow drop. Like the floor of an elevator letting go beneath him, 1 inch at a time. Wren walks, unhurried, to the exact center of the lobby. She stops on the compass rose inlaid in the marble floor. She reaches into the inside pocket of her blazer. She takes out a slim black leather folio. She opens it. Inside is a single executive identification card, silver embossed seal, her photograph, clean sans serif font across 2 lines. Wren Sutton, Chief Executive Officer, Meridian Heritage Bank. She holds it up. Not high, not dramatic, just at chest level, visible to anyone in the lobby with eyes. Her voice, when she speaks, is the same voice she used at window 4 hours ago. For anyone who was present this morning, I apologize that you had to witness what you witnessed. My name is Wren Sutton. I've been the Chief Executive Officer of this bank for 4 years. I am here to make some changes. The lobby does not explode. It goes silent. The specific kind of silent that happens when every person in a room realizes, at the same moment, that the ground under their feet is not where they thought it was. Gregory Wilson's legs do not hold him. His left hand shoots out and catches the wall of his office. His right hand is still holding the coffee cup, but at an angle now, and a slow brown ribbon is trickling onto the carpet. He does not notice. And Caleb, the camera of history stays on Caleb's face for a full 3 seconds. The smirk goes first. It does not collapse. It just stops existing. Then his mouth opens, very slightly. Then his eyes find the framed photograph on the east wall, the one he has walked past every working day for 3 years, the one he never once looked at. And then back to Wren. And then back to the photograph. He makes a small sound. Not a word. No. Then louder, to nobody. No, 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 no. Margaret Brown walks quietly to the east wall. She places her fingers on the edge of the ceramic vase holding the tulips and slides it with practiced gentleness, 1 foot to the left. The photograph behind it is now fully visible. 7 executives in dark suits. Front row center is a black woman with calm, steady eyes looking directly at the camera. It is exactly the same face that is looking right now directly at Caleb Davis. The photograph has hung there since 2023. The elderly woman in the lavender coat abandons her deposit. She walks across the lobby. She takes Wren's hand in both of hers. I saw what happened this morning, dear. I saw all of it. I will tell anyone who asks. Thank you. Would you be willing to give a statement? I would be honored to. Diane Moore steps forward with the tablet. Wren turns to Caleb. She walks 3 measured steps toward window 4. She stops on the customer side of the counter, the exact spot where, this morning, she was told she did not belong. She places her hands on the marble. She looks at him. His eyes are wet now. His voice is a cracked whisper. Ma'am? Miss Sutton, I didn't know who you were. Her eyes go hot, not with anger, with something older and more tired. She speaks quietly, so quietly that every person in the lobby has to lean forward, which is exactly why she speaks that way. That is the problem, Mr. Davis. You didn't know because you didn't ask. You looked at me and you decided. You would have treated any woman who walked up to that window looking like me exactly the same way. My title should not have earned me courtesy. My humanity should have been enough. Caleb's mouth moves. Nothing comes out. Wren turns from him. She addresses the room, her voice firm again. "Mr. Wilson, step away from your office. Margaret Brown is now acting branch manager of this location, effective immediately, pending a full review." Gregory's mouth opens. Evelyn Taylor, without looking at him, raises one finger. He closes his mouth. "Mr. Davis, you are suspended, effective this moment, pending a disciplinary investigation. Thomas." She turns, and her voice softens only slightly. "Would you please escort Mr. Davis downstairs to the HR annex? He is to collect only personal effects." Thomas Williams's voice is quiet, steady. 8 years of waiting inside it. "Yes, ma'am. It would be my pleasure." Some people think status reversal stories are about revenge. They are not. They are about what becomes possible when the person with the least assumed power turns out to hold the most actual power, and what that person chooses to do with it in the 30 seconds after everyone in the room finds out. By 3:15 in the afternoon, the back conference room of the Oak Park branch has become the operational center of a bank-wide reckoning. Margaret Brown has set up a laptop and a small portable printer on the long oak table. She has spread transaction reports in 3 neat stacks. She has pulled a chair for Wren at the head of the table, another for Diane Moore, and, directly across from Wren, she has placed a single chair for Gregory Wilson. Gregory sits. He has not loosened his tie. He has not asked for water. His hands are flat on the table in front of him, palms down, the way a man places his hands when he is trying very hard to make them stop moving. Margaret walks them through the first findings. Over the last 6 months at this branch, Caleb Davis has flagged 23 transactions at his window for enhanced review. 19 of those customers were non-white. His flag rate on white customers is 0.9%. His flag rate on non-white customers is 11.4%. That is a 12-fold disparity. She slides the printed chart across the table. Gregory does not look at it. "The data has been available in your branch dashboard for 6 months, Mr. Wilson. The dashboard you were trained to review weekly. We checked the access logs. You last opened it in October." Silence. Then Diane leans forward, and she sets a small, black audio recorder on the table between them. She presses play. The voice that fills the conference room is Wren's. Calm. Polite. "Good morning. I'd like to convert this into a cashier's check, please." And then Caleb. "That's a large amount, man." Diane does not stop the recording. She lets it run. She lets it run through the first refusal, through the second ID demand, through the 6-minute disappearance, through the fake signature claim, through the phantom hold, through the fraud department that was on lunch at 10:22 in the morning. She lets it run through the public insults, stinking up my counter. "Did you even shower? Welfare check. Filthy hands. People like you don't belong in a room like this." She lets Gregory hear his own voice enter the recording, smooth and helpful, offering a branch on the south side where she might feel more comfortable. People who understand different types of customers. An Uber at the bank's expense. She lets it run all the way to the last line. "Your presence is making other customers uncomfortable." And then she lets 10 full seconds of silence play out after that, before she presses stop. Gregory has closed his eyes by the time the audio reaches the Uber offer. He does not open them again for a long time. Diane's voice is level, almost gentle, which is worse. "Mr. Wilson, that recording is 22 minutes long. In those 22 minutes, Your teller executed 4 separate refusal tactics. You executed 3 more. None of them appear in the Meridian Heritage Policy Manual. None of them match any training module we have ever issued. I have read that policy manual cover to cover. I helped write it. So I would like to ask you, on the record, which protocol exactly were you following? Gregory opens his mouth. He closes it. He tries again.
Wren, Miss Sutton, I had no idea the numbers were that.
Wren's voice cuts across him, quiet. The numbers have been in your dashboard for 6 months, Mr. Wilson. The dashboard I designed. You did not look. He was still learning. He complained about, twice, in writing. The complaints are in his file. The customers who wrote them closed their accounts. We lost $340,000 in deposits in 6 months because of him. And you signed off on his last performance review calling him, quote, a team player. Margaret clicks to the next screen. It is Gregory's compliance training dashboard. The progress bar is barely a sliver of blue on a long gray field. 22% complete. Assigned to you 8 months ago, Mr. Wilson. The module you have not finished is called Recognizing Patterned Discrimination in Retail Banking. That is the literal title. That is the training that would have taught you to recognize what was happening at Window 4 every single week, in numbers so large a child could have graphed them. Gregory looks at the screen. He does not speak. Then Diane does something very deliberate. She opens a separate audio file on her laptop. 3 clips, short ones. She plays them, one after another, without comment. Our branch on the south side, you might feel more comfortable there. Different types of customers. Your presence is making other customers uncomfortable. The 3rd clip ends. The room is silent. Margaret does not look up from her notes. Wren does not blink. Diane leans back in her chair. Mr. Wilson, would you like to explain to the board, in your own words, what you meant by each of these phrases? Gregory opens his mouth. Nothing comes out. His hand moves to his collar, stops halfway. Wren speaks, softly, without heat. That is what I thought. Down the hall, in a smaller room with beige walls and fluorescent lights, Caleb Davis sits across a metal table from Diane Moore, and an outside employment counsel named Evelyn Taylor has been brought in. Caleb has been crying. His eyes are red. His nose is running. He has a paper cup of water in front of him that he has not touched. I didn't mean it the way it sounded, he says. I was having a bad day. I was stressed. I have been stressed for months. I got passed over, and Diane does not raise her voice. She never does. Mr. Davis, we are not here to assess your intent. We are here to assess your conduct. Your conduct was documented by the customer, by the security camera, by a witness in the lobby who has already provided a written statement. 7 refusal tactics, all on audio, all against a customer whose funds were legitimate, whose identification was legitimate, whose signature was legitimate, and whose account history was spotless. I'll apologize. I'll write her a letter. I'll do sensitivity training. You are being offered the opportunity to resign in lieu of termination for cause. If you resign, this institution will not pursue civil action against you for reputational damage. If you refuse, we will terminate for cause. Your non-compete is forfeit. Your severance is forfeit. Any future employer who calls this institution will be told the truth. You have 1 hour to decide. She stands. She walks out. The counsel closes the door behind her. At 4:30 in the afternoon, Wren takes a video call in the main conference room. 4 board members on the screen. Harold Anderson is the first to speak. Wren, some of the board is asking whether a public statement is wise. The exposure, Harold, the exposure already happened. At 10:18 this morning, in front of 9 witnesses, in the flagship lobby of our oldest branch. The only question is whether we lead the narrative or chase it. I intend to lead it. A long pause. Proceed, Harold says. I am not finished. The room quiets again. We are not just firing one teller. We are not just demoting one manager. We are ordering a full audit of all 12 branches, every teller, every supervisor, 6 months of transaction data, disparity analysis across race, gender, and primary language. Margaret will lead it. External auditors will verify. Findings will be published internally within 60 days and summarized publicly in this institution's annual Social Responsibility Report. We are opening a direct-to-HR and direct-to-compliance whistleblower channel that routes around branch management. And we are establishing a customer restitution fund for every person who was unjustly flagged or refused service in the last 24 months. Silence on the line. Then Harold, quieter. Approved. All of it. Margaret pulls up the list. 19 customers flagged by Caleb Davis over 6 months. Names redacted for privacy. Wren makes one more decision, aloud, into the room. I want a personal letter of apology to every name on that list, signed by me. I want their accounts audited for any fees incurred as a result of these delays. I want the fees refunded, with interest. I want a dedicated customer relations hotline opened by end of week. And I want Mrs. Teresa Reyes, the woman with the stroller in the lobby this morning, contacted personally by me. She was willing to be a witness. That matters. Diane nods, writes it all down. It is at this moment that Thomas Williams knocks, once, on the conference room door. He has his hat in his hand. In his other hand, he holds a small leather notebook. He places the notebook gently on the table in front of Margaret. He does not sit down. Ma'am, there's more in there than what happened today. Margaret opens it. She reads the first page, turns to the second, then the third. Her face changes, slowly, the way an old photograph changes when you finally look at it in daylight. She looks up at Wren. There's a lot more. Wren turns to Thomas. Her voice is soft, careful. Thomas, why didn't you report any of this before? He looks at her. 8 years of patience behind his eyes. Ma'am, I did. 3 times. To Mr. Wilson. The reports don't exist in the system. Across the room, Gregory Wilson puts his head in his hands. Diane makes a note on her tablet. She looks at Wren. Our current whistleblower process routes through branch managers for initial intake. A guard reporting a manager has no path up. Then we close that gap today, Wren says. Effective immediately. Guards, operations staff, custodians, part-time tellers. Any employee of this bank, any badge number, any shift, has a direct channel to HR and compliance that does not pass through branch management. That goes in the memo tonight. At 5:58 in the afternoon, Caleb Davis returns to the small beige room. He signs the papers. His hand shakes. As he stands to leave, he looks at Wren, not quite in the eyes, and says, so quietly she almost cannot hear it, I'm sorry. Wren nods once. She does not say it is okay. because it is not. I hope you do the work, Mr. Davis. Not for me. For the next person you meet. At 6:48, the branch has closed for the day. The cleaning crew moves quietly through the lobby. Wren stands alone on the marble compass rose where she held up her credentials a few hours ago. Thomas Williams walks up beside her, carrying 2 paper cups of coffee. He hands her one. They stand there together, side by side, looking at the counter where she was told this morning to try the check cashing place down the street. You okay, ma'am? I will be. Thomas, thank you. For the notebook, for everything. Thomas takes a slow sip of his coffee. His voice is steady, quiet. It carries the weight of a man who has been carrying something for a very long time. 8 years is a long time to wait to be asked. At 8 o'clock the next morning, every employee of Meridian Heritage Bank, all 2,100 of them across 12 branches, opens an email with the same subject line. A message from your CEO. And a commitment. In it, Wren Sutton tells the story plainly. She does not use names. She does not sensationalize. She describes what happened to her at her own flagship branch at 10:18 the previous morning. She describes the 7 separate refusals. She describes the language she was called. She describes the moment she was offered an Uber to a branch on the south side where she might feel more comfortable. She writes, in the closest thing to anger she has allowed herself in 36 hours, I was refused service at my own bank yesterday. I am the chief executive officer. Imagine what happens to people who are not. Then she lists the commitments. The full 12-branch audit. The new whistleblower channel. The customer restitution fund. Mandatory bias training, completion verified by HR. Quarterly public disclosure of disparity metrics. A standing customer experience advisory council. Each commitment has a date. None are vague. By 10 in the morning, the memo has leaked. It is on Twitter, on LinkedIn, on the front page of the Chicago Tribune's website by lunch. The bank's PR team is in panic mode. Wren is not. She authorizes a brief, factual public statement. She names no individual employees. She takes one interview, local Chicago Public Radio, 45 minutes, live, and she answers every question plainly. She does not perform outrage. She performs resolve. Anger, she tells the host, is the easy part. Resolve is the part that actually changes anything. At 2 in the afternoon, Mrs. Teresa Reyes's phone rings. Mrs. Reyes, this is Wren Sutton. I am calling personally to thank you for being willing to leave your name. Mrs. Reyes sits down on the edge of her couch. Wren offers her compensation for her time. Mrs. Reyes declines. Then Wren offers her something else. A seat on the newly formed Customer Experience Advisory Council. A voice in the room where these policies are written. Mrs. Reyes says yes before Wren finishes the sentence. Gregory Wilson is not terminated. He is demoted, formally, to a non-customer-facing internal audit role 2 levels below his former position. He is transferred out of Oak Park by the end of the week. He is required to complete, with an HR observer, the compliance training he ignored for 8 months. In some ways, it is a harder landing than firing. He has to stay. He has to watch. He has to walk into an office every morning and know that everyone there knows exactly why he is there. Caleb Davis is seen, 3 months later, working in a different industry entirely. He has begun seeing a counselor. He has not spoken publicly about what happened. Whether he has done the actual work of becoming a different person is not a question the record will answer. Reform is not guaranteed for everyone, but it is possible. And that, for now, has to be enough. The 12-branch audit closes at the 60-day mark. 3 additional tellers are terminated. 2 branch managers are demoted. 11 of 12 branches show statistically significant disparities requiring remediation. 1 branch, Evanston, shows none. Its staff is flown in to serve as the internal model for retraining. The audit is published. Industry press picks it up. 2 competing Chicago banks announce their own internal reviews within the week. A third follows by month's end. The reform, as it turns out, does not stop at Meridian Heritage's doors. And at 5:02 on the evening of the incident, Wren walks into the auditorium of her daughter's school, still in the same blazer. She has not changed. She has not stopped. Amara is already on stage. She sees her mother in the back row. Her face breaks into the specific smile that is reserved for one person in the world. Later, in the car, driving home, "Mom, how was your day?" Wren glances at her daughter. She smiles, small and tired and real. "It was a day." A pause. The streetlights slide across the windshield. "I'm proud of you, baby. I'm proud of you too, Mom." Tonight belongs to Amara. This story took place in Oak Park, Illinois, on an ordinary Tuesday morning. But it could have taken place in Atlanta, in Houston, in Portland, in Phoenix, in any branch of any bank, in any lobby, on any day of any week. What makes this story different is not that it happened. Stories like this happen every single day, in buildings exactly like that one, to people whose names we will never learn because they did not walk in with a credential in their pocket. What makes this story different is that the woman it happened to had the power to change what happens next. Most people don't. That is why the change cannot only come from the person being harmed. It has to come from somewhere else. From policy. From witnesses who decide to speak up instead of looking at their shoes. From colleagues who refuse to laugh along with the bad joke. From customers who walk back into a lobby the next afternoon and say, "I saw it, and I will give my name." Somewhere in the Oak Park branch, Thomas Williams is still standing at his post, still watching, still carrying a small leather notebook in his breast pocket, although now it is mostly empty, because the things he used to write down there now have a direct channel to people who will actually read them. 8 years is a long time to wait to be asked. The lesson of this story is not that one woman walked into her own bank and made it right. The lesson is that a guard kept a notebook for 8 years, and one afternoon somebody finally opened it, and every word inside it counted. Be the person who opens the notebook. Be the person who asks. Wren Sutton still banks at the Oak Park branch. The tellers know her now, not because of her title, but because of who she is when her title is not in the room. The framed photograph on the east wall is no longer partially hidden by tulips. The display moved. Some things change because someone insists, quietly, that they change. Justice is not a single moment. It is 1,000 quiet choices, repeated daily, by people with no special access. So I want to ask you something. Sit with it for a second before you scroll. Have you ever been in a room where someone was being treated the way Wren was treated in that lobby? And if you were, what did you do? What would you do now, knowing what you know? Drop your answer in the comments. I read them. If this story moved you, hit the like button, because that is what helps this kind of story reach more people. Share it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you're new here, we tell these stories every week. Stories about justice. Stories about the quiet moments that change everything. Subscribe. Turn on notifications so you don't miss the next one. Ren Sutton is a character. Caleb Davis is a character. The Lobby, The Notebook, all fiction. But someone, somewhere, is living a version of this story today. Let's be the reason the next one ends better. Nah, like, your title shouldn't decide how people treat you. Courtesy isn't a privilege, it's the minimum. And yo, if you see something wrong, don't just look at your shoes. Speak up. Be the witness. That's how things actually change from